Hey everyone, it's me, Matthew. It seems like no matter where we turn nowadays, coronavirus is all we hear. Personally, I'm finishing up my Master's of Public Health program, and believe me, from a non stop academic standpoint, COVID 19 has been all we've been talking about and studying since last December. And we're not surprised. We knew an event this serious and widespread was bound to affect nearly every aspect of our waking lives. Whether or not we've been infected by this virus, we've all been affected by it. It's unceremoniously altered our education, our days at work, and most importantly for our shared community, we're no longer able to see Holy Mass in person. This is a unique time for us. We're seeing world leaders, health officials, and people of our science community sort of scrambling in uncertainty. But at the same time, we're seeing our church adapt in confidence and faith under the leadership of Justin Utchin and several of our aunties and uncles. We didn't miss a beat with the delivery of our live stream Holy Masses, and we're also seeing these great videos being circulated by our younger Utchins and the rest of the diocesan youth apostolate. And it makes me feel lucky to be part of such a faith driven community. We'll talk more about those videos in a little bit, but first, we thought it would be a great idea to make a similar sort of video, but a more personal video for our St. Jude family. But before I get to that, I'd like to address my fellow members of this St. Jude Youth Ministry. My young adults and college students and high school students, I want to talk to you directly. In a recent regional team meeting, we were faced with this question: what can we do to help our communities throughout this pandemic? So I'd like to extend that question to all of you. How can our humble, growing youth group help in the face of a pandemic? What can we do? What can St. Jude's own youth do? Well, we've come a long way. We've grown from a group of strangers in middle school to a group of friends with shared experiences to an active and driven group of community leaders. You know, I've never really felt that we functioned as a group with just one leader. We functioned best as a youth group of leaders. So, what I'm asking and hoping is that we can be leaders in a time where our community needs us the most. I mean, this is a time where we flip on the TV or we hop on social media and we see mostly bad news. Well, it's our goal as Catholics to bring good news to our community. And it's been a very personal goal for our youth group to bring joy to our community. And I realize I'm saying this at the risk of sounding cringily dramatic or maybe dramatically cringy, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. Yeah, I'm willing to seem uncharacteristically serious about a threat to our loved ones and to our church. And I'm betting that a lot of my fellow youth feel the same way. I'm sure that even in isolation, we still want to bring joy to our community. Well, in this video, fellow youth leaders like me and you are going to talk about ways that we can all help our community as leaders. I hope you enjoy and I hope you take this to heart. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I hope you are all staying safe during these difficult times. I wanted to share some scientific aspects of the coronavirus epidemic. The coronavirus disease is also known as COVID-19 and is designated as the Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, coronavirus 2, also known as SARS-CoV-2. In December of 2019, the novel coronavirus was identified as a cause of respiratory tract infections in Wuhan, China, resulting in an epidemic throughout the country. The virus then gradually spread to other parts of the world, resulting in a global pandemic. The virus is transmitted via respiratory secretions or droplets when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. The virus contained in these droplets can also infect people if they make direct contact with the eyes, nose, or mouth. Infection can also occur by touching an infected surface, following touching the nose, eyes, or mouth. Droplets can typically travel anywhere between 6 to 12 feet but most cases are known to occur within 5 days after exposure to the virus. But other studies have also shown that they can occur anywhere between 2 to 14 days after exposure. COVID-19 tends to cause more severe illness in the elderly population or in patients with underlying medical conditions. However, others can still be affected, and everyone should exercise caution during this time. Common clinical symptoms include fever, trouble breathing, dry cough, sore throat, and fatigue, although some who are infected may not exhibit any symptoms. Majority of those infected with COVID suffer from only mild to moderate disease. However, it's extremely important that we do everything we can to stop the spread of this virus so it does not reach vulnerable populations. In terms of COVID testing, CDC has established a priority system based on the availability of tests. These tests are mainly reserved for the vulnerable populations, such as hospitalized patients and healthcare workers. There are several things we can do to prevent the spread of this virus. First of all, the CDC recommends that people who are in public places wear masks, and hands should be washed frequently for at least 30 seconds. You should also avoid touching your face. Be sure to practice social distancing and keep a distance of at least 6 feet from others at all times. In terms of self-isolation, the following people should make sure to self-isolate. Number 1, any person who has been diagnosed with COVID. 2, people who have symptoms of fever or respiratory illness. And 3, anyone who has had close contact with a person who has been diagnosed or has potential COVID. These people should self-isolate for at least 14 days and monitor their symptoms carefully. Travel should be at a minimum, preferably done only in emergency situations. Those who have traveled to COVID-prevalent areas or have been in contact with a person who has traveled to a COVID-prevalent area should also self-isolate. Currently, there are no drugs or other therapeutics presently approved by the FDA to specifically treat or prevent COVID-19. Current clinical management guidelines include infection prevention and control measures and supportive care, which includes supplemental oxygen and mechanical ventilation support when indicated. The following drugs are not approved for COVID-19, however, they're being used for symptomatic treatment and to reduce disease duration. These include hydroxychloroquine, which is an anti-malarial drug, remdesivir, and other antiviral drugs. There are also other drugs currently under investigation in clinical trials to ensure their safety and efficacy in the treatment and prevention of COVID. There are several clinical trials that are ongoing in order to find a suitable vaccine for the coronavirus. The frontrunners for a vaccine are currently in phase 2 trials, with phase 3 trials planned for early summer. Although some states are slowly starting to reopen, it's very important for us to continue to exercise extreme caution in order to prevent future spread of this disease. Let's continue to spread awareness, exercise caution, and we will get through this together. Hope everyone is able to stay safe and healthy. And lastly, on behalf of the St. Jude community, I wanted to give a big thank you to our healthcare workers who are combating this virus on the front lines. Your dedication and hard work is truly appreciated, and we cannot thank you enough for all that you do. Thank you, and stay safe, everyone.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Anne, and like many of you, I'm at home trying to make sense of this unprecedented situation. In the midst of all this craziness, what hasn't stopped for me, like all other students, are classes. It definitely has been challenging to quickly figure out how to make this new dynamic work and get the resources that I need to succeed. I'm sure that many of you are also struggling with this, and for parents, it's just another responsibility while dealing with their jobs and other responsibilities due to the coronavirus. As youth, we would like to help ease the stress for both parents and children who are trying to adjust to this new lifestyle at home. Having taken classes for about a month and a half, I know that it can be challenging to stay on track and not get distracted at home. It can also be hard to get the help you need to finish your assignments and understand the concepts that you may be struggling with. So, to help students from elementary to high school with their classes and other academic needs, we are starting a tutoring program. Whether you need help with your classes or making sure you're well prepared for the coming academic year, we are here to help. By using this link, you can visit our website, Joy for Learning, where kids and other parents can choose from tutors with various areas of expertise and find availabilities that match with your schedule. If you find that what you need is not being offered currently, still reach out in our Contact Us section and we will do our best to get the support you need. The best part of this all is that it's free, considering all the other challenges that you may be facing during this crisis. Lastly, if anyone would like to be part of this initiative and volunteer some of their time to be a tutor, please reach out. Preference will be given to college and above. We would like to expand this further and include more classes and fun activities for children, but we cannot do this without more volunteers. If you have some extra time on your hands and would like to help us out, please let us know. I hope all of you continue to stay safe and do well, and I hope this program can be of great use.
Hey St. Jude, this is Jessalyn Methapara. I know that we've been in quarantine for over a month and some of you are going a little crazy. Either you're tired of your siblings, you're tired of your parents, you're tired of your own children, you're tired of your grandparents, you're tired of being indoors. There's lots of reasons to be tired. But there's also lots of things that we can do during this time and take great advantage of the hours and days that we have unexpectedly found ourselves with. Some of those things involve reading, taking up new hobbies, learning new languages. So I'm here to tell you about some of the fun things you could possibly do. If you haven't come up with these ideas on your own, or maybe you haven't tried a couple things, maybe this will give you a little bit of joy to your daily routine. So first off, I want to talk about things you could read. Not all of us are big readers, but some of us that are. I know this time is difficult because libraries are closed. So one thing that I suggest is that you can take the books that you have and do a book exchange with some of your friends. You can do a book drop-off at people's doors, maybe send a book that you have loved and would like to share with your friends and mail it to them. That's a great way to get books and to get rid of some books that you have had on your shelves for a while and would love to share with other people. Another thing you could do is you can also order books off of Amazon, Target, or other websites that are still selling books. What I find I'd like to do is I like to find books on Amazon through a Kindle app, and you can read about, whether you want to read about historical figures, you can read about your favorite basketball player, like Jomi here loves Michael Jordan. You can read about how to use your grill, you can learn about new recipes, you can learn about new techniques. There's lots of things that you can read about, so if you're a big reader, go ahead and do that. There are also lots of crafts and hobbies that you can take up. I've taken up a couple of hobbies myself, including beginning watercolor painting and calligraphy. So I'm not very great at it, but it's been a week, 2 weeks actually at this point, and I've done a lot of roses and peonies that I've painted. I actually even made my parents' Mother's Day cards, and I've sent a couple birthday cards out through this, so that's also fun. Some of you might know how to crochet or knit. If you don't know how to crochet or knit, now's a great time to start. You can go to your local Michaels store, Hobby Lobby. There are a couple of craft stores that are still open, and you can pick up supplies that way, and you can learn online, reading tutorials, or there's everything on YouTube, so you can figure out how to do those things that way. Another great thing you can do is you can learn how to approach different recipes. The latest trend these days is to use sourdough bread. If you don't know how to make a sourdough starter, there's recipes online, or you can probably get a starter from a friend. And people have been making sourdough bread, sourdough cinnamon rolls. It's a sourdough craze going on right now, so that's another fun thing. If you don't have access to sourdough, there's plenty of other things that you can bake. I think most of us are familiar with making cookies and brownies, so now's a great time to try a new recipe. We've been making a lot of toffee brownies, but you can also make anything under the sun, including scones. If you've never had a scone, they're great with your chaya. Another great thing you can do is if you've never tried to paper mache, now is a great opportunity to try and make a piñata. Cinco de Mayo just passed, and Cinco de Mayo is always filled with lots of fun activities and colors, but piñatas are probably a highlight. My sister-in-law actually makes a piñata for her son every year for his birthday, and it's a lot of fun. And so you don't have to only strictly apply it to when it's a Cinco de Mayo celebration, but you could also use it for summer birthdays. Speaking of the summer, since the warmer weather is approaching, now's a great time to have family picnics outside. I know that it's hard for us to kind of stay inside all day, but because the warmer weather allows us, you should plan a Friday picnic. I think next Friday, we're supposed to have weather up in the 80s, so try to take your meals outside, whether it's chorengari or you pack some sandwiches and some fruits. Try to enjoy the vitamin D. Another great activity you can do is if your parents have a wedding anniversary coming up, the kids should go ahead and try to make a romantic evening for their parents. They can dream up the menu, whether it's spaghetti meatballs, try to attempt a steak with some baked potatoes, try and find a way to light some candles, dim the lights, and have a nice romantic evening for your parents. Another great thing you could do during this quarantine is to learn how to play a new instrument. Shout out to all my friends in choir, but this is a great time to learn how to play the guitar or the ukulele, which are two great beginner instruments that aren't too hard to pick up, and there are great instructions on YouTube. If you want to improve your singing, there's lots of good vocal exercises that you can do to improve the strength of your vocal cords. If you love photography, now is a great time to practice your skills. You can watch a lot of videos. I think Nikon had a month's worth of free tutorials on how to take better pictures. And I'm sure Adobe and other products have had free tutorials on how to edit your pictures. So take advantage of those free courses. For siblings who are wide in ages, a great opportunity during this time is to create scavenger hunts. Especially if you're a high schooler, you can create great scavenger hunts for your younger siblings. During Easter, I created a fun little egg hunt for my kids and the neighbors' kids, actually. We hid all the eggs all over our two houses' yards, and it was socially distant, but it was still kind of fun, and we provided clues on where to find the eggs. If you have board games, now's a great time to play Monopoly. That's our house favorite. But there are lots of other games that you could play, like Connect 4. You can have a Connect 4 tournament, Catan, Risk. Taboo is a fun game, especially when you play it in Malayalam. Or you can even play simple games like Bananagrams, Uno, or Monopoly Deal. And if you look on your app store, sometimes you can find some of these games online. Like you can find Monopoly as an app in the app store. So there are a lot of fun activities, games, things that you can learn how to do. Try to make use of this time. Try not to feel like you're stuck inside all the time. By the way, if you haven't checked us out on Instagram, St. Jude has a Joy Instagram page where we've been posting challenges and lots of fun things to do. And just a shout out to the real Richard Thomas, who has been posting really cool challenges for each day. One of his challenges was to learn a new card trick or magic trick. So real cool ideas on his page too. So check out St. Jude's Joy page and find out if there's any other challenges you can do, or you can link up with other people at St. Jude to do a workout challenge. We've been doing push-up challenges and all this other stuff. So hope to see you there.
So this season of quarantine is a very unique season. It's probably something that we definitely haven't experienced in our life so far, and chances are we may never experience this again. And so it's not a time to be, it can be very challenging mentally, socially, emotionally, but it can also be an opportunity. An opportunity for growth, an opportunity to reprioritize the things in your life. And when we think about our spiritual life, it's also an opportunity to grow spiritually in our relationship with the Lord. Many times in the hustle and bustle of life, we put God in the back burner. Like, Lord, if I had more time, I would do this. Lord, when I get free time, I'll do this. Lord, I can't do this now, but I'll do this later. But now is the later. Now is the time, the opportunity that we have to make those commitments, maybe to read scripture more regularly, spend some more time in prayer, read about the lives of the saints. So many different things, so many different resources that we have on the internet that we can use to grow in our faith, to deepen our faith during this quarantine season. So I think the biggest takeaway during this quarantine season, when we think about the Lord and our faith, is that it's an opportunity, and make best use of this time, because we may never get it again. And when we come out of this, let's strive to be different people, better people than when we first came into it. God bless.
Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, my name is Sean. and I'm here to just share some of my thoughts on staying mentally healthy during this extraordinary time in our lives. During these past few months, there has been an overwhelming amount of news coverage regarding the COVID-19 situation, and ranging from the incredible sacrifices of our frontline workers facing the situation to the constant steady alert for us to stay indoors and stay at home. However, being inside our homes, our apartments, or our residences can bring with it its own series of challenges, one of which is staying mentally healthy. The government has prepared various resources to help with this challenge, and the CDC has been very useful in bringing to us some important tips on how to stay mentally healthy and to disconnect. I will be happy to share some of the information available from the website here, and also encourage you all to read up and discover these for yourself. Mental stress during this time can include increased anxiety, changed patterns in eating, appetite, and difficulty sleeping. It's also important to remember that for each of us, these challenges can be unique. For each of us, these challenges can be separate, can be different. However, it is important to connect with our families, with those whom we stay with, and reach out and ask them and communicate and spend time with them. Some of the ways the CDC recommends on ways to cope with stress include disconnecting from social media, from news, with the constant bleak reports, or sometimes the overwhelming information overload that can occur with constantly hearing about COVID-19. Taking care of a body, taking deep breaths, meditating, or just spending some time in the backyard. Ability and having good balanced meals, eating well, and of course, taking time to unwind, trying to do some activities that you enjoy, especially considering that we have more time to stay inside now and to discover activities that we may be putting off, maybe experimenting with some cooking, maybe picking up a new musical instrument. We have so many options and choices in that way. We have to be creative in this unprecedented time. And of course, connecting with others. Talk with people you trust about your concerns, how you're feeling. With the advent of tools such as Zoom and Skype, we are able to connect with our friends, our family, no matter the distance. And I would highly encourage you to use this platform to reach out to someone you haven't talked to, just see how they're doing, or sometimes to share with them how you're coping with this. Maybe they can pick up on a couple of things and maybe they can share that with their friends. Also, I would highly recommend as fellow Christians to reach out to our Lord. Prayer can never be underestimated during this period of time. Prayer doesn't change God, it definitely changes us, as someone once said. And during this time, we can go to our Lord and share our concerns, our anxieties, and our fears with Him, and allow Him to fill our hearts with peace. And even if we don't have anything to say, we can just go on our knees and just listen and take the time to just be there in front of the Lord and let Him fill our hearts with all the peace that we need. I hope this helps you and brings you some more clarity in what to do next. I would advise you, all of you, to remain hopeful and faithful to our Lord. He will definitely bring us through this. I wish you all the best. Stay safe, stay indoors, and God bless.
Hey all, I hope all of you guys are doing well, safe, strong, and healthy. I want to let you know all of you are in my prayers. My family is doing well. Mom and dad are doing great, and so is my sister and her husband. So today I wanted to share with you just really quickly some tips on how to maintain personal finance during these unprecedented times. My first one would be, if the current savings accounts that we all have, probably somewhere in shape or form we're tapping into that, I would think through how to stretch that savings account a little further out, identify what are your essential needs, and figure out what are some of your non-essentials that you can take out and during these times that you don't really need exactly right now. And then I would say think through boosting, if some of are fortunate enough to boost your emergency fund, boost your savings account right now, and then again, figure out what are your essentials and what are your non-essentials, and take that money and put it into a savings account. I would even think through maybe your tax refund or even a stimulus check. Think through on how you can put that into your savings account and have it for those times that you really need it if something bad happens. Okay, and then I would say identify what you do have, to take a look at your pantry and find out what are your current stock, and not going out and splurging on things, and not going out and making rash purchases. I would stay away from that. Then I would say contact your lenders. These times, the lenders and a lot of the debtors are working very closely with their customers. Always think about, try to figure out if they will offer a restructure of your payment plans. Never not make a payment or make a late payment that would affect your credit, or would affect your financial profile. Always think and identify and work with your lenders and see if they can restructure some of the payment plans. A lot of the companies are working really closely with customers. And then I would say think through not making a rash decision into your investment plan. Stay calm. The market's very volatile right now. They're making a lot of fluid. It's very fluid. It's very dynamic. Stick to that plan. Always obviously consult with your financial advisor, but stick to your current investment plan. Don't make any rash decisions right now, or things that would be have a significant influence into your investment plan. Stick with it. Talk to your financial advisor, but right now I would recommend not making any rash decisions. Then I would also consider if, as a lot of you know, that the Federal Reserve has made some unprecedented changes to the interest rates. So think through and see if this is a time where you can make changes to your interest rates and refinance, or lower some of your rates. So I would contact your lenders and see if that is an opportunity that you can take a look into. And then I would say, for a lot of my young friends, that you have a lot of time on your plate. So think through and find and learn more about financial literacy. See if how to maintain your personal finance during these times, and also your future. After we get over this COVID, we are going to get over it. So once we get over it, think about what are some ways that I could strategize my personal finance as I'm getting older, and I'm looking into investments, or looking into I'm getting a new job, and learn more about it. The more you know, the better you're going to be, and more prepared you're going to be.